Alrighty, hello, my name is Satan herself, and I am going to be recording a submission of World of Goo, any %, no skips, for Frost Hotels 2024. I did think I wasn't going to submit this category, but I decided to give it a shot. And also, at the end, will be a nice incentive video for any % skips, as well, so it'll be kind of a win-win. I'm also going to try to go for PB, of course, but we'll be explaining everything along the way. It's a really, really fun game. The appeal is very much in the precision of building and also the sort of cheese that we're able to do. This is a puzzle game, of course, so there's an intended solution for a lot of this stuff, but we're going to circumvent that quite a bit of the time. And when we're not, it's really impressive and fast building. So first we need to delete Forest, unfortunately. RIP Forest. Let's do Forest 2. The return of Forest for our any %. And let's start us off. So we start in World 1 here. Welcome into summer. In this one, we're gonna kind of learn how to play the game. And these early levels are really kind of boring because of that. They're mostly just build some nice structures and continue on. So of course the first one is really just the main mechanic of the game, which is drag the Goo Goo balls around and make structures. You also need to get to the pipe and bring a certain amount of goo balls up there, 6 seconds, very fast, to be able to win. This one is very similar, but it is a bridge building level, not an up level. I like bridge building, it's one of my favorite building methods / techniques in this game. I think it's tons of fun. And of course, once you get to the pipe, you want to put in some goo balls so that you can speed up the process of getting your goo balls to the pipe itself. Very well done. What do we get? 13. Nice. Yeah, of course, a lot of these early levels are really, really tightly optimized. You're looking for those little seconds here and there, but later we are going to have differences of 20, 30 seconds per level for execution and RNG. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of RNG in this game, but we don't get to feel it until later. For now, we've got these nice little albino goo balls, which are a bit different from the gray ones we were using before, in that they can make more than one little connection per goo ball, so they're actually a little bit sturdier. You can see that we just built right up to the top there after we woke up the sleeping ones on the bottom. Sleeping goo balls can only be awoken when structures are near them. 20, that's very standard for this level, especially with a couple misclicks like I did. And we're going to be using that mechanic quite a bit throughout the rest of the game. All right, we've got our first little cutscene here. This run does have some cutscenes. I think it's good, to be honest, as a marathon game for that. The cutscenes are a really nice breather and give some time to read donations and also just catch up on what's been happening a little bit. The lore of this game also is that we're a goo planet. There's some residents of this planet, and we're kind of waking up the goo balls. We're kind of reviving them as a species and seeing what we can do with them. We also might be in a slight post-apocalypse scenario and nobody really knows it yet, so we'll see. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Alright, come on. Yeah, this one's just kind of tedious. You just bring these balloon balls onto your flying machine and win. The balloon balls are going to be really, really important. They're going to show up time and time again. It'll be really important to use them properly. We're also going to have some future levels where we're going to be able to cheese a lot of stuff with the balloon balls, but we'll see that when it happens. All right, Tumblr time. Like the website, but not really. In this one, we're going to get introduced to these green ones. So the green ones can make multiple connections per, kind of like the albinos, but they also have the special feature, of being able to disconnect from the structure. You can actually disconnect them and reconnect them. Just like that. A little risky there, but we got it on the second cycle, which is pretty standard. You can sometimes get lucky and be able to build fast enough on the first cycle to get all 8 goo balls in there on your first go, but usually not. All right, Fisty's Bog. This is a classic one. If you've played this game, you definitely remember it. We're gonna try to build a nice little suspended bridge here, but the catch is that there are spikes on the top and the bottom of the level, so that means you can't build too high or too low. So we're gonna manage our height using the balloon balls, as well as more of our bridge. Sometimes it can be really hard to click something that isn't a balloon ball. Balloon, because they have bigger hitboxes. There we go. Took a sec for that continue to come down, so I was a bit confused, but that's okay. Pretty good level, I would say. 25, yeah, I'll take it. Let's go ahead and go for Ivy Towers. So there is a speedrun strat for this that I'm not going to be able to perform. It basically involves making a little link of two. Come on. And then pushing it all the way up with other goo balls. It is really, really hard to do that. It's that strat and a couple others are so hard. I probably will not be able to do them before the marathon, as much as I would have liked to, in theory. But we have backups. For this one, it's the casual way, but done the most efficiently that we can. And there we go. You can see you needed 2 go balls, and there was only enough to make a tower for 1. So if you go ahead and move away a goo ball there, that last one that's right next to the pipe will just get sucked in. Pretty useful. All right, and welcome to Impale Sticky. So this is one where they are kind of introducing this flies mechanic. So if you find a time fly and click it, you can go back 1 move, which is really, really nice. We're not going to need it yet, though. This level looks a lot harder than it usually ends up being, but it is a little awkward, unfortunately, the way that we've done things here, because we are going to need to use that. Wow. Yeah, actually, retry. That's interesting. I don't think I've retried that for a while. Well, it's a no reset. That's how things go. Haven't retried that one in a while. But yeah, you really just round this corner. And again, it is harder than, or it is easier than it looks. That's the way you're supposed to do it. Of course. And then unfortunately this one requires a lot of goo balls, so you're kind of stuck just ferrying them for a while. Here. Later we will have a tool that will make this easier and better. It's called the whistle. But unfortunately we don't unlock that until the second world, so just doing that for now. But yeah, as you could see in the first attempt, if I click a little bug, you go back 1 move, and that can be a lifesaver. There we were a little bit too far in to be able to go back with that, but is what it is. All right, this is a really interesting one. This is one of the first ones where I'd say we have a real proper speed strat, besides just doing the thing fast. And this is what it looks like. You build down here, make a nice little triangle, and then release. And what does that do, you ask? Well, it wakes up the sleeping goo balls that are down there. And that's important because we can throw them up to the line here and make it so that we get enough goo balls to win. Hooray. So that's a pretty cool little speed strat, is make your structure, let it go, throw those goo balls back up, and we got a 35-second time. That's not too bad. That's pretty good. All right, Tower of Goo. So this is another classic. If you've played this game, you'll probably remember this level. It's the one where they basically say, build high, make a nice stable structure. If you're really doing speedrun strats, you're not going to be doing it the way that I'm doing it. You're not going to be building out all the way to like 5 supports. You're just going to be doing 3. But I like to do this for safety, especially if I'm doing a no reset. So now that we're up here, we're going to go ahead and do this. Try to make sure our tower is stable. What? Why are we leaning? Huh? That's okay. We're gonna be able to get there in time. I just had to stretch it. Very nice. And that really shows the utility of the bug right there. The time bug. Yeah, this level's also windy. It introduces wind mechanics into this one. So you can see that the tower is less stable than normal. You can kind of correct the tower by throwing goo balls back into it. Sometimes, but it's a little bit hard to do. We will be throwing goo balls to cheese some stuff later, though. That will return. Don't you worry. All right, and now we have a level I like, called Ode to the Bridge Builder. You're supposed to build a tower up and knock it down, but I like just building the bridge out because I like bridge building. So we're just gonna do some good old-fashioned precise building. Precision building. I feel like this is a good spot for a donation or two, because the rest of this run is really exciting. This is a really cool run, features all sorts of amazing stuff. So yeah, I think Ode to the Bridge Builder is a good time to sort of just rest a little bit, take stock of what's going on. Here we want to make an extra support there. And then we can just build out so that when it falls, we get what we're looking for anyway. And you only need 8 for this one. You have plenty of goo balls, so it's really just about making sure your tower or your bridge doesn't fall all the way over. Alright, 46. Not too bad. Could have been worse, certainly. Now let's go on into Regurgitation Pumping Station. Alright, there's a speedrun strat for this that's kind of similar to Ivy Towers, but it's quite difficult. So the vast majority of folks just do what we're doing here, which is build a nice little bridge out here, and this makes it so that we have a nice stable base to build up to, because that's liquid, so it's kind of hard to build on, right? Otherwise, everything might just fall over. But luckily, we can build a nice tower with our green goo balls. Come on. Thank you. And these sort of spinning wheels here are going to go ahead and put some traction on the goo balls. So we're gonna release this little column from our previous structure and let it come all the way up to the top, get regurgitated. And then we're gonna make it fly with some eyeball balloons. These don't come up again, they're just for fun right now. I don't know if it matters the rate, whether you put the maximum amount of eyes or less on that, but I like to put the max amount of eyes just in case. And then we have a nice little cutscene here talking about what we're doing here. We are making it so that the goo balls can see everything, the whole world. In fact, even other planets, maybe. New islands, each crawling with undiscovered new species of goo. So it's basically talking directly to the player and saying, play the other worlds. It's good. It's a fun game. Fun game. I am inclined to agree. And that's end of chapter 1. Let's go into chapter 2. Chapter 2 is very interesting. It kind of builds upon what chapter 1 does in some interesting ways, but especially on the physics side of things. This world has a lot of physics-based tricks and puzzles. First, though, we're gonna be introduced to these drool balls, and they hang down. So we're gonna just make a line as fast as we can to these green ones down here. And the green ones do a good job of building out to the side. And we're gonna build out far enough that we can just use a drool to get to our pipe. There, it was a little bit of a hassle. So a little bit slow, but not a big deal. Still a perfectly solid level. 32. Alrighty. Yeah, the drool do hang down, but that suction of the pipe is nice and strong. That helps. Alright, this is the first one where we're gonna do a physics cheese. Hello, fly away, little ones. this physics cheese will definitely come back. Don't you worry. So basically we're gonna use the balloon goo to push this, this little flying machine all the way across the map to get the goo balls that we need to get to win the level. Bring it down to 1 here. And then I like to let it float a little bit. Yeah, you're supposed to put the goo balls on the side. And sort of rotate it by moving the balloon goo and like spin it around. 39, pretty good. But if you just push it with the balloon goo, well, why not? All right, here's Blustery Day. We have a nice cheese in here, but it's not physics related. We have this big windmill out here that is blocking our way to the pipe. Oh, that's no good. What's up with that? Well, first we're gonna make a nice trail of goo drool all the way up to our windmill. And then, well, let's just go around and place it right there. The game does let you build through things, so this is the first time we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And this is kind of a high pressure moment here. Nice. You have to do that in like exactly the right succession to be able to get the right physics to continue the level, so it's important to kind of focus up in that particular moment. I'm gonna just make it so that the drool connects. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait for a little while here for the pipe to be able to get everything. We can speed it up a little bit by grabbing the drool goo as it comes out. And there we go. Yeah, the windmill, of course, will delete your goo trail and your balloons. So you want to make sure that you can stretch it far enough away so that it's not doing that. And that is why it needed to be done in exactly that order. And I need to focus here. Welcoming Unit is a little bit of an auto-scroller. I'll explain how the level is going to work. And then, yeah, this is another good time for donations in the actual levels, which is a little bit rare. Because, again, this run has a lot going on, especially in the later levels. So it's good to have the time sometimes. Go ahead and watch the Freedom Scraper go. So the goo balls are going to come down here and get onto this structure that we got going on. And I'm actually gonna try to push the structure to the side a little bit to try to get these goo balls quicker. And then we're gonna go all the way up to the top of the screen with all the balloons that we have. And get all of our goo balls. Hooray! Yeah, I could have put the balloons there quicker, but I wasn't completely sure I had 30, and I always like to be safe, because if you don't have 30, it's kind of a hassle. But yeah, you can see how that one's a little bit of an auto-scroller. All right, Beauty School. This is a cute little level. It introduces beauty balls, which is an interesting thing in this game. One of the themes of this game is beauty and its commodification, and sort of beauty standards for women, which is an interesting theme to have for primarily a children's game from 2008, but I'm not going to complain. I think it's cool and interesting. So here I'm going to just make a structure and get these beauty balls in there. Oh yeah, did I mention that the big beauty ball can be ground into tiny beauty balls and that the red pipes are only going to take beauty balls? Well, there you go. And this is going to be one of our main mechanics for the rest of the world. We're going to be collecting these beauty balls, making sure we're grinding up the big ones into little ones. And yeah, we'll see what happens as a result. There will be story implications, I promise. So yeah, apparently making beauty products is a thing we can do with goo. All right, Leap Hole. This is another classic. You'll remember this one if you've played this game. What? There's not enough goo balls to collect 6. No, there totally are, because all you have to do is isolate this little thing here, and done! Sometimes I have removed the final one prematurely there, which is not great. But that's okay. Got a 10-seconder there, that's alright. That one has a little bit of RNG, because if the last goo ball spawns far away from the structure, it'll be a little bit longer to go get it. That's okay. Alright. Volcanic Percolator Day Spa! Wee-hoo! Also, we got the whistle, which will help us out later. So this is one of my least favorite levels. This is one that I skip in any percent skips. That's because there is a really nice physics-based exploit for this level, but unfortunately I'm not good enough yet at the physics engine of this game to be able to master it. But hopefully, someday soon, I will be. So here we just use our big structure to bring this different goo ball up here. I don't know why they have these goo balls and then the other ones. It's a weird choice. But is what it is. I'm building this structure out because it is very likely that it won't go the way I want it to. Ooh, it did. That's lucky. Alright, and then I'm gonna build the structure out here, and unfortunately we're gonna poison our little structure here so that we can more quickly fall down into here. And as soon as the goo balls touch that... Not letting me whistle. It'll make it so that we can build on the structure. That was a pretty good attempt there at that level, actually. What do we get? 108! Nice! That's actually very efficient. Well done, me. Alright, now Whistler. So this is the level that's going to teach you how the whistle works and why it is important for the speedrun. The whistle's kind of our only toolkit thing. So we have this little hanging pendulum that of course is going to respond to where the goo balls are. And the whistle moves the goo balls to where you whistle. Shockingly. So all we gotta do is make sure we get 2 drools on the thing. Move the big thing down here. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to have happen. Unfortunately, that's a retry. So we needed both of those drools, and I accidentally let go of one of them. So back to it. That's okay, Whistler's kind of weird and finicky. This is one of the levels that I think the speedrun community likes the least, just because it's so finicky. We'll grab 3 this time, just to be certain. Especially because I accidentally attached a drool on the other side. But 2 is still fine. And see, this is one big reason why the whistle is going to help us, is because it's going to let these goo balls come into this pipe quicker than we would have been able to do otherwise. Also, those sort of black tar goo balls there, we can't pick up, so we can't even do the, like, shuttling mechanism that we were doing before with those. So we really do have to rely on the whistle there. And that's kind of teaching us how to use it. All right, Beauty and the Electric Technical. This is another skip and any percent skips for me. You can exploit this level with physics by throwing goo balls at this Beauty ball until she gets over to the other side. But as you might expect, that is difficult. Quite, in fact. We might be doing kind of a halfway version of that if we get the right thing going on here. But we might not. Let's see how things are going. So here I'm going to make this nice little line. It's a nice electric tentacle, as the game calls it. And now that's pretty long, so let's start moving our Beauty here. Move her over past this little choke point here. And as we build it up, I'm gonna just move the most recent balloons out. And then let's start making balloons here so that we can push the beauty up through the power line that we've made. And there she goes. Runs into this gear at the end. And then we go ahead and finish the structure and bring them over with the whistle. Alright, yep. Pretty standard way to make that level happen. 142. Could be faster, certainly, but getting a sub 2 is at least decent there with that strategy. This is one of my favorite levels. I should be skipping it 90% skips, but I like it so much that I generally don't. The reason I like it so much, it has a really cool speedrun exploit, and it has a little bit of physics exploit as well. So let's see it. So I'm gonna make a structure that's kind of like this. And then we are going to throw a couple albinos down for safety. And then we're gonna take some of these albino goo balls and we're gonna squish them under this thing. So they kinda, I don't think, thought about this super well. That to put some space under here for this mechanism to work, that they would need to also yeah, that was gonna be hard pressed to work. Oh man, tough. This usually does not go this poorly, unfortunately. This is a rough one. Oh, really? Really? Wow. That's unlucky. Usually this is way more consistent than what we're experiencing right now. Come on. Come on, get through. No? Wow. That's like mean. Alright, there we go. Finally. Alright. And then we can push the thing up here with a nice little throw from our goo ball. We can push our beauty ball here so that she goes through all this. Right now she's getting stuck a little bit, but that's okay. We want to build a nice structure up here so that when the beauty balls fall down, they go right into the pipe and we're done. The end part of that level was good. Beginning part, a little sus there, but that's okay. That was an unlucky instance of that. Is what it is. It just happens. But it's so cool. I love taking advantage of that little gap underneath that that big arm and sliding some goo balls in there. Very fun. All right, here we've got genetic sorting machine. So this is a one where they're asking you to put these two different types of goo balls in sort of different areas here. Here I am going to use a little bit of goo ball physics to move around these goo balls, both for building and from pushing. No. Sometimes it will go all the way through like that, which is kind of funny, but not helpful for us, ultimately. Nicely done. Yeah, those have a little bit of suction, so you mostly just have to get them near it, which is still easier said than done. Yep, and of course we had to destroy the other balls so that this beauty ball could ride right on through. And then we destroy these little tethers so that we can go all the way up here. And why do we need to bring the beauty balls all the way to the top of this tower? Hmm? And who's that? What's that? Well, here we're gonna have to make this go up so that we can put some beauty balls into a pipe. And there we go. The last of the goo balls discovered. The giant lady thing was a living electric generator. So actually, we're kind of in a post-apocalyptic universe where we needed to restart this electric generator with beauty. Highly reactive liquid chemical like gasoline or turpentine. Wow. For years, her beauty juice powered the entire world. As the world grew older, so did she. When her beauty dried up, so did her electrical output. So yeah, this game's a little bit satirical of like beauty standards. It's kind of funny. But this is a nice cutscene for reading some donos as well, and just kind of taking a breather, because once again, this is a action run. Action, action, action. Level through level through level, and I think these cutscenes provide a nice little break. It's grown brighter. Power meters spun faster. Electrical lines surge with youthful energy. Yeah, I suspect we lost a little bit of time, mostly from Red Carpet there, which was the one that was the, where the exploit wasn't super great. But no big deal. Still a perfectly fine run here. The splits look a little weird, don't worry about them. And now we're going into winter and my favorite world of the entire speedrun. Welcome to Chapter 3. So all of these are actually burnable goo balls. And what we need to do is burn that whole tower down. Normally, you'd go ahead and make a structure. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna do what we normally do, which is exploit the physics. We threw a goo ball into that fuse, it came right on back, and we did it. That was the first try I've done in a live run, so very cool. That's much harder than it looks. Nice 16. And then we use our nice little balloon physics exploit to get the structure over to the pipe immediately. Secondhand smoke. So this one, we need to get this structure of albino goo balls all the way to the bottom. But how are we gonna do that? Well, we're going to build an equal fuse on both sides. And then build a nice little fuse all the way down to the bottom. I'm gonna equalize that fuse a little bit because what we don't want is for the albino structure to just fall down way on one side or another. So we need mostly an equal thing going on there. And nice. Very good. That one, there's no real exploit for you. Just gotta build fast, do it well. 30. Pretty good. I'll take it. What's a Z product? I was about to say chat. I'm not live. What's a Z product? We'll see. Let's try Misty's Long Bony Road. So this is one I was considering removing from the skips route, but I decided to keep in ultimately. If you watch the other submission video, you'll see why. But this one, there's a bunch of spikes, and we can't possibly build that far. So we're gonna have to use these bony goo balls to strengthen our structure and make it so that we can get all the way to the end. That wasn't what we were looking for. So we're gonna go ahead and use some time bugs there to improve our situation. It's all about finding the ones that are the most structurally important and keeping those, and removing the ones that are the least structurally important, so that you can keep your bridge going. The long bony road, as it were. This one's not even touching the ground. Yeah, and if you can make one that has a bone at the top, you're most likely going to be able to build right to the end and win. Very good, nice and clean. Yeah, definitely a good use of the flashback bugs. Nice 107, not too bad. Superfuse challenge time. So this is the game's built-in speedrun level. It's basically got this little fuse here that's burning up. It's showing you how much space and time both you have. be able to complete it. It is well enough time for us speedrunners here. We are gonna be just fine. We have to build a nice little tower up here to collect these beauty balls once again. Sometimes these ones will just refuse to be collected, and that doesn't make like any sense to me. Yep, sometimes there's a bit of RNG where the beauty balls just will not jump onto your structure and you have to finagle the physics. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. You can't actually pick the beauty balls up, so that would have been a much better than a 30 time if that goo ball had cooperated, but is what it is. All right, third wheel. So this is kind of an auto-scroller level, but it's not really. There's an optimization we make as speedrunners that does help a lot. But if you are able to do it, it's kind of like an auto-scroller because it's like the one that we saw in World 2, where you just latch on and let it ride. So we've got this little spiky goo ball that's going to be able to attach our structure here. To this big wheel. Now here we've got some ones with spikes on them. Oh no. But we do have this bony goo ball that's gonna help us be able to be safe. Oh, unless we get really unlucky. That's really unlucky, actually. I don't know how to fix that. Okay, let's go for that. That might... Oh my goodness, really? Wow. Okay. And maybe if we're lucky, we can still win here. We need 16 whole goo balls, so we need a fair amount of them to survive, to be able to win. Luckily we got it. No worries. So that one is, you know, it is a little bit skill-based. You have to make sure that your structure isn't dying. Unfortunately, there we had to spend a little bit of time making sure of that, but it wasn't a huge time loss or anything. It's not like we had to do it again, which would be worse. So, hooray. But the optimization is making sure to get those skull goo balls so that you don't have to go around the circle another time. Welcome to Upper Shaft. This is the coolest speedrun trick in the run IMO. So first we start by throwing this goo ball up in the air so that when it comes down, we can just catch it and build outside of the wall. Remember earlier where we had that time where we built over the, actually I need to redo that because I need enough space. Yeah, interesting. I've never had this exact problem before. Alright, let's just be more cognizant of our space. Sure. Well, walls are just a suggestion. If you take a big old flick, you can just go through a wall. Pretty cool. And we're gonna see that in a couple more levels on this one. Unfortunately, that was a little bit of a scuffed attempt, but throwing it through the wall on the first time is pretty epic. So we did get ourselves a 107. Not terrible. Time for Waterlock. This one's been a little bit mean to me lately. It is a bit of an RNG level in a game with very little RNG, so that's kind of unfortunate. That is what it is. We're hoping for a 2-cycle here. 3 cycles pretty standard. If we're unlucky, we'll get a 4 or even a 5. So we need to attach our thing to the... Oh my god, it is just too bouncy. Let's retry it. Usually you want to just attach your thing to the little joint in there, and it is easy. Unfortunately, it was really, really bouncy this time. So as you can see, there's some things with the physics that sort of complicate our mission here. But what we need to do is we need to just travel this thing down to the bottom. And then when we're just a little bit more than halfway, we release it up. And unfortunately, we only got 14 on that one. That's not too good, but luckily it did go back inside the hand. It can decide not to go back inside the hand, and that is a real pain. So we're hoping for a 2-cycle if we get lucky, but probably looking at a 3-cycle here. We're using, of course, the physics to bump it back up to the pipe. This is a skip, by the way, of course, and any percent with skips. Oh, 33. So close. Well, we'll get it on this next one. 3-cycle is fine. That's about average. What? Stick? Okay, good. That was worrisome. Yeah, the physics here can make this one quite annoying. This is one of my least favorite levels in the game. And there we go. All done. Yeah, another great place for donations is after the first cycle, of course, because we're just waiting for things to happen, unfortunately. Alright, this is a really awesome level. This exploit is so cool. Watch and learn. I adore this one. So, essentially, there's a big bomb at the top of the level, and we have to use it to explode this spiky head that we have in the middle. And usually, the game would want you to build a big, big tower around the head to blow it up. But that's going to take a really, really long time. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to throw goo balls against this wall until one of them hits the bomb. Unfortunately, our aim is off, it seems. I usually get it quicker than this. We're getting a tad unlucky. Yeah, unfortunately this is a little RNG-esque. It's not totally. If you exactly know what you're doing, you can hit it, but since you're kind of doing a blind shot, I'm just going based off of the positions that have worked in the past. Oh man, really? Wow. That is what we call unlucky. In my any percent runs, these have been going terribly lately. In my with skips, they've been going fine. Okay. And we have barely enough goo balls to reach. Wow. That was close. Got it eventually. You usually get it much faster than that. That was unfortunate. Yep, 210, not great. You can sub-minute that, of course, easily. Well, not easily, but simply, I guess. An unfortunate one there, but it's okay. Time for Incineration Destination. I like this level. There's a lot of cool parts to it. So first, we have this big chasm we have to conquer. You could make a nice little vertical bridge, or you could just make a horizontal one. I prefer the horizontal option. Luckily, the albinos are quite sturdy. One of the best goo types for building in the game. Try to wake these goo balls up. Oh. Great. And all you need to do is connect one, and you're golden. Then you want to use these albino goo balls to build a nice structure down here. The reason being, the albinos will not catch on fire, but you want the bomb to. And you can move the bomb up here and explode this nice little enclosure of beauty balls. Then we're gonna bring the beauty balls over here. We're gonna make the beginnings of a structure and use the same exploit we did before to throw a goo ball in there and make a final structure. There we go. That was a very clean incineration destination, I would say. Pretty good level. Very solid. 114? Nice. Excellent. And then we have our product launcher. So this is the final level in the world here. And we're about to find out what the Z product is. Whoa. So first we gotta release those big goo balls to make a bunch of little ones. And then let's make a nice little tower here of fuse goo balls. Get all the way up to this flame. And then once the flame catches this Z on fire, it'll blow everything up. It's a nice little set piece. Zet piece, if you will. Wow. Revealing the literal product launcher. This whole part is a nice part for donations. We're gonna have one of the longest cutscenes in the game after this, so it's a good time for sort of digesting and talking about the run and doing donos. Absolutely. So here we're just gonna have a nice cutscene. I think overall we are going to save time in this world. Not by too much, but a little bit. So what's the product launcher gonna do? What's the Z product, you ask? Let's take a look. What is it? It's falling. Same. A cube? GameCube? No, it's that it added a Z axis to the world. The world is now 3D. Wow. And this is what 3D looks like. I love 2008. Welcome to the Third Direction. Your friend, the World of Goo Corporation. Oh, it's the World of Goo Corporation. Warning. You appear to be incompatible with the world. Ah, darn. Ah, nuts. Please contact tech support in the Information Superhighway. That's where we're going next. Go figure. Saved a little tiny bit of time throughout there. That was really just, you have to explode the head. And to the Information Superhighway we go. So this is what 3D looks like. This is what technology and the internet looks like to World of Goo, which I love. So this one's just an introduction to these goo balls, which you can throw. So more physics-y type situations here. You go ahead and make this structure and go complete the level quickly. Really good, fast little level there. The square ones, of course, are normal buildy ones. 11, very good. This next one's going to really test our ability to shoot them out, though. And we're going to bring back that wind mechanism that we saw in Tower of Goo. There's wind blustering towards this side, so we have to keep that in mind when we are shooting our goo balls. And unfortunately, we have cogs that will destroy things as well. Here, I'm going to build this structure out to make it easier to get some goo balls onto it. And also make it easier to shoot the goo balls up to the next section. You have to be fairly precise and shoot in the right place here. You also can carry this this little goo ball here. I've brought one extra for safety, but that's because it's a no reset. And then now you've built out your little pipe, and you can shoot everything else in. Pretty straightforward, pretty standard solution here. just navigate the maze, shoot the goo ball. This is a skip and any percent skips for me, because it's just kind of tedious and long, although we got a 50 there, which is pretty good. Pretty solid. This is the worst level in the speedrun. Welcome to Grapevine Virus. This is the easiest skip decision in any percent skips, because it is so inconsistent and difficult. So you want to throw a bunch of your goo balls into there at the outset. And as soon as everything has fallen down, you're not going to get any goo balls bumping into each other. Now you can see that those former green goo balls have turned red. What's that all about? Well, they're infected with the Grapevine Virus. And what that means is my game's gonna lag and I'm gonna miss a shot. Very cool. What that means is they're gonna be able to make tethers. You're not really gonna know what that means until it is obvious. So let's go ahead and make it obvious. So here's how that kind of works. You also have to manage the physics really well here, because otherwise you're gonna make it sway, and it's gonna hit those gears, which is not ideal. Like that. Luckily that didn't sway too much for us to be too concerned. But yeah, you want to hit it from down low because that's going to have less of a risk of making it swing more. Unfortunately, that one's always going to be a risk pretty much, because you can't hit it from down here. Nice, got it. I was worried that that one wasn't going to work, but we got it. It's all good. That was a very, very clean Grapevine Virus. You normally don't get it this clean. Here, unfortunately, this part's super annoying. Because the physics are just weird here. And there we go. All done. So that's, yeah, it ain't great. Nobody likes Grapevine Virus. That was a good attempt of it, though. A 221 is pretty solid. I would like a sub 2 minutes, but for a no reset, not gonna complain. Graphic processing unit. This one's a little RNG as well, but it is not nearly as bad as Grapevine. We are gonna try to make another tether, and the tether point is down there. But we need to get these red goo balls to wake up first. So we're gonna bring some of these green ones around, which will wake up our red ones. And then we're going to shoot some red ones around to hopefully make a nice tether. Ooh, unlucky. Unlucky, they're going on a very long arc, which is not what we wanted. Oh, that's really not what we wanted. Are there any reds left? Nope. Alright, retry. So that's the thing with the RNG of this level, unfortunately. It's a little bit random as well. It's not usually as bad as that. Usually you do get the tether, even if it takes quite a bit of time. But we got unlucky. I would say. Yes. Nice. Okay. Barely got it. And then we just shoot out all of our remaining greens to be able to get them into the pipe, and we're done. Alright, that wasn't a bad level 4 on the second attempt, but having to do 2 attempts is pretty brutal there. Usually don't get that unlucky. Oof, that one's been mean to me lately as well. Unfortunate. What can you do? Alright, roadblocks. So this one you can just build this bridge, but it's pretty hard. And sometimes I mess it up a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and do some tech support. Make a tech support, as the level suggests that we should. By building up these really tall blocks, we can make a nice support for our future bridge. These are goo balls, by the way. Well, they're goo blocks. But they're goo. All the same. It looks precise. It's not really that precise, this part. What? Okay, I've never run into that before. Well, good news is, it's no big deal. That's never happened before, Mama. Never had it fall through the support, but good news, didn't fall all the way down. Perfectly fine level. Woohoo. Nice 47. Pretty solid. Then here we have one of my favorite speedrun tricks in the whole run here. This is when this world starts to get interesting. This is my least favorite world, if you couldn't tell, but I do like this one. So it's kind of telling you should Jenga this thing down. You know, carefully replace blocks. We're not going to do that. What's being careful? I don't know it. Done. If you knock the tower down at the right speed, at the right place, you can just send that little structure careening down. 12 seconds. Done. One of my favorite solutions in this run. Very, very cool. All right, Alice and Bob in the third party. This is a long-winded one where we kind of just assemble a bunch of blocks and get it to the right area. It's interesting that they have 3s down there because you do need more than 3 blocks up here. So I wonder what that design element is about. But yeah, there's skiers down here, so we have to make sure to cover that. We also have to make sure to build up towers to get those goo balls. This is a really nice spot for donations as well. Now we're not going to need any on this side. So we just build up where it is necessary. It is necessary to have 3 on this side. I believe it's necessary to have 3 there. So we're gonna just grab some more blocks and drag them up. Yeah, this is unfortunately one of the most boring levels in the run. As you can see, there's not a ton going on. But that's okay. 'Cause there we go. We've gone ahead and built our structure. No, we definitely did not need 3 here. Well, fair. And then here we're going to use our grapevine virus to make new connections off of it. So that we can bring our green goo balls all the way down here once they come onto the tether. And there we go. All done. It's one of the only levels where we have these green goo balls that you can't pick up. I wonder why they decided to do just in this one. 121 is pretty standard. And onto the server farm. This one is another balance puzzle, kind of like the chain from the first world. We're gonna try to reach a pipe high in the air while balancing on this nice little balance thing here. But usually, if you build fast, you're gonna get there fine. Just like that. No need to worry about it. The sounds of the goo balls dying at the end there is so sad. All right. And now we're gonna go ahead and meet with Mom. I forget exactly what Mom stands for, but Mom doesn't really mean Mom. It means kind of the search engine of the internet, the version of the internet they have here. We're gonna use games to stack up higher and higher, kind of like in Roadblocks. The lesson of this level is never use your computer for applications, only use it for video games. There is a cool physics exploit in this level, but unfortunately it is only on version 1.3, and I do play on version 1.5. There are some differences between the two, and that's one of them. All right, hello, Mom. And here we're asking Mom some questions. We're kind of incompatible with the world, so we need to destroy the World of Goo Corp so that things can be less 3D and so that we can still exist. So what we're gonna do is ask Mom how to do that. Mom's not gonna tell us because she doesn't want us to destroy it. But we figure out that Mom's been sending a bunch of spam email to everyone in the whole world that everybody has deleted. So we're convincing Mom that it would be really cool to bring back all of those spam emails at the same time. She tells us that we're going to be able to do that by going to the big recycle bin in the southeast. And there we go. Also, we ask her how to make the world 2D again, and she says, try closing one eye. It's one of my favorite things in this game. She also tells us that we have to read her terms and conditions and accept them before we can go to this recycle bin, so we have to go there and do that. That's the World of Goo Corp. It's kind of like if you get extra goo balls in the level, you can play around with them as a sandbox in that little thing. We're not going to go there besides for this purpose. All right, this beginning part is a little RNG-ish. Luckily, we got good RNG. Wanted to just destroy everything on the way. And then here, have to use physics to push this towards this red thing. Oh, that was really unlucky. Got it. The hitbox is a little finicky there, so sometimes you don't get that till the second or third try. Luckily, we got it pretty quickly there. And we have the options of okay and yes to put all of the emails that everybody has ever deleted back out into the world. Goodbye, emails. Bye, emails. What do we think this is gonna do to the World of Goo Corporation? There's gonna be another little cutscene after this. So again, good time for donations to hang out, chill. Uh-oh. Ground's shaking. Why? New mail! Uh-oh, that doesn't look so good. Goodbye, World of Goo Corporation. We destroyed a large corporation. And the world is 2D again. I like this bad sign that's gonna come here. That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. I think that's a bad sign. End of chapter 4. Definitely my fastest chapter 4, even though Grapevine and the one with the planet were a little bad, but that's okay. All right, and here's the epilogue. So this I'm also submitting as an incentive for the any percent with skips, because we do skip all 3 of these levels in that one, and I think they're super cool and worth seeing. So I'm submitting that as an incentive. Here we're gonna do Infesty the Worm just a little bit. Infesty being a big giant thing here that we're gonna try to push off of this. Unfortunately, the pushing isn't working super ideally. Oh, don't go there. We're trying to push it towards the edge here so that when we move Infesty off of the island, it'll just sink right down. Oh, getting super close. Come on. Unfortunately, this is a finicky part. But we do really need it to be pretty much off of this island here. We can't have it be really attached. Alright, well, we're gonna try making this happen here. Alright. There we go. And we're gonna let Infesty fall to the bottom. And that's because we want it to be a smaller version of itself, so that we can push it to the side. Kind of like we did before in that one level in Chapter 2. We push it using our balloon goo balls again. And we do need a couple of goo balls, so we're gonna pick them up here. We only have 3 now, so we're gonna have to go to the next island as well. So I'm gonna make sure we don't overshoot that. Or undershoot it, for that matter. And we're gonna push it. All the way to the pipe at the end of the level, which we're not quite at yet. But soon we should be. If we can prevent ourselves from dying. Fortunately, it's very hard sometimes to pick up the correct goo ball, as you might have noticed. But we got it first try, and there we go! That is the cheese for Infesty the worm. Pretty cool. $311. That's not great, but it's not terrible either. Let's go ahead and do Horizontal Transportation Innovation Committee. So this one is supposed to be a very, 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 very big bridge with some difficult to manage support things here. It's not going to be that. Instead, we're going to do this really unique speedrun exploit. Push us over on the pivot and make sure a bunch of goo balls are still on this thing. Unfortunately, that was unlucky. Sometimes you do get unlucky, it swings a little bit too far and just deletes itself. Okay. You do need the balloon at the end there before you build that third link. And then I'm using this little thing to make sure. Oh goodness, really? Wow. I'm kind of shocked about that. There were just too many goo balls on that one. It sunk. Usually there's too many. Or there's too few. Kinda like now. Don't away from me. But we're gonna use another push mechanic here to bring this on over. We also have to make sure that it doesn't go too high and leaves our screen. That'd be bad. I don't think we have 8. Definitely don't have 8 now. So we're gonna... just enjoy that. Great. Super great. Let's go back a move. Let's go back another move. Here we go back another move. Nope. Of course. Yep, and of course there was one right there too. Oh well. What can do? So, unfortunately, this one is a little RNG dependent, because you have to have just the right amount of goo balls left to be able to make it work. Nope, that was bad RNG. But it's a really cool speedrun exploit. And we do usually get it faster than this. It's a bad example. Man, it is really not letting me get away with it today, is it? Wow. Yeah, this is really hard to do because the window for which you're gonna make another connection versus just push the thing is very small. It's not like Renfesti. We had a nice big hitbox we could use. Don't. Yeah, figures. No, don't leave, don't leave. Yes, saved. I promise it is usually much, much smoother than that. That was really, really unlucky. But we got it in the end. That's why I'm giving a 10-minute estimate for this entire thing, is that a lot of things can sometimes go wrong, although Weather Vane is usually pretty consistent. This is the most consistent out of the three, usually. Yeah, I would of course practice that a lot more also leading up to the event. There's a lot of goo balls here, so I'm not particularly worried about running out. Mostly just worrying about making the right kind of structure. To get all the way. Up here. Really, what I want to do is get a balloon so that we can stretch ourselves all the way over here. And then I'm actually going to let this balloon go. Why are we doing that? So that we can grab these goo balls, kill this. Really? Wow. I don't even know what we can do with this. Well, we can do it this way. Ah. I want to make it a little bit we're right in front of it. Well, we were. Oh my god, really? No, 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 really? Okay, there. Yeah, we wanted a different structure here. I hope somewhat obviously. Juggle this and push it back. Really? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Epilogue is being really mean to me. Wow. And this was the one part I really didn't want to be mean to me. Finally. Usually you just make a different like style structure than that. That was really unlucky. And juggle it on over to there. Oh well. It happens. Alright, it's still gonna be a PB because we had a really, really terrible epilogue in PB. Unfortunately. But that's okay. It is a submission. That's about the worst case epilogue you could possibly see. That was, yep, that was about the worst one, unfortunately. But that's okay. Hey, saw the worst case, and that's the worst case. And there we go. You just have to bring those pufferfish up to the island to end the run there, and once the cursor disappears, that's time. There we go. 1:15:18. And we're gonna have to wait for the credits to finish because we're gonna have to go look at in-game time because this is, of course, a PB. I would like to know that. It's important for the standings. But yeah, here's any percent. I'm still in pretty early stages of running this game, as you can maybe tell. So I'll be submitting this, but I definitely will be improving it before the event if y'all want to take it. And I am also submitting any percent with skips, which removes a lot of the more difficult and more RNG heavy levels out of the run, which is kind of nice. I am, of course, submitting that with an epilogue added incentive. I will probably submit a better version of epilogue just so that y'all can see what it more often goes like when I just practice it on its own. I think today I had already done a bunch of runs and probably not the best timing to do epilogue at the end of a long World of Goo run. But that's alright. I think this is a pretty decent submission. As you can see, the game is really, really cool. The physics are really interesting. All the puzzles are really cool. Seeing them completed quickly and precisely is awesome. And, yeah, I like all the glitches and skips and tricks, and it's really cool. It's just a really cool little run. So, yeah. GG. We have to wait till this cutscene is done, and then we have to wait through the credits. Yep. Get ourselves to the end. I'll probably submit this with a 1:17 estimate because, once again, some of that RNG was really, really abysmal. We got a really bad cycle in Waterlock. We got bad goo RNG in Horizontal Transportation Committee, and bad RNG in You Have to Explode the Head, which are the main RNG points of this run. So, and also we had to retry the one with the planet. So, yeah, not the best RNG. I think the execution in this run was actually pretty good, aside from epilogue. So I think this is a pretty good execution example of where I'm at right now. The RNG probably added about cumulatively 3 to 4 minutes onto this run, maybe 5. So I think I feel pretty comfortable submitting a 1:17 estimate for this right now. And hopefully we'll bring it down before the event. Yeah. Wow, they re-released it in 2019, eh? Reprogrammed it. Nice. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, for a 2008 game, this is a super robust game. It's really cool. It still holds up aesthetically very well. They picked a timeless aesthetic for this game. Some of its themes are very 2008, like the internet and spam emails and beauty, and so the commodification of beauty. That's, I think, very 2008. But that's not really an issue. It's just a nice little artifact of its time. Very nostalgic. And our in-game time was 118.24. All right, that is the submission. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.